Solo today, and I am going rockhounding. I'm headed up to a spot that has a lot of really cool, interesting geology, and it has a lot of really cool rocks to rockhound. So I'm spending the night in the mountains tonight. Just got up here, it's about 5 p.m. Got a couple hours before it gets dark. So I'm driving up this road, and I'm looking at this really steep rock face, and I noticed that there's a little seam up there, so I'm gonna go take a couple chunks off, see what it looks like. So this rock is a really different rock than what you usually see what I'm pulling out in. This rock is a really ancient, I guess, metamorphic rock, and this is deposits from a very shallow sea or a shallow ocean from a few 100 million years ago, as I understand it. Let me preface this by saying I'm not a geologist, but I have talked to some geologists about this area, and that is what I have learned about it. I'm in a area that's very dense with something called the Chalice Volcanics, which is not a very old system of rocks, only 15 to 30 million years old. That particular formation is full of geodes or agates or jaspers, and I'm going to show you where a little seam of silica-rich water came in to this formation and deposited, and the deposition had different impurities in it, which led to different crystallization and different colors and different designs and patterns. So you can kind of see it's really black right here, which means it's really carbon rich, which means it likely came up with a bunch of, wow, that's really weird, almost like burned burned biologics, almost like coal or something, the way how black that is. Actually, I'm not really certain about that because, like I said, I'm not a geologist, but I've never seen that in one of these formations, and I've looked at a lot of them, so I might have to look that up later. Anyway, so this is a small seam. You can see where the seam starts. There's a small band of silica right there. Silica is code for quartz, or like a quartz crystal, but the way that the crystallization happens with this particular silica is it doesn't have a chance to grow into a crystal. If you've ever grown like rock candy crystals, you know that it takes like a few days for the crystal to actually grow, the sugar crystal. So it's the same with quartz. Sometimes the quartz gets to grow into big crystals because it has a long cooling period. Sometimes it doesn't. So this didn't have a cooling period that was very long. It was also really compressed, so it's called microcrystalline quartz. So you have this little teeny band of it right here, and then it rapidly expanded and got bigger. You can kind of see as you move down into the seam that it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And it looks like about the biggest this got was, probably 2-3 inches, probably 3. So that's a little more common to see. There are some seams that are 4 or 5 feet that are really big. But that's what it looks like right now. That's a really weird one. I've never seen it with that much black. So I have all these pieces. I'm just right on the road here. But it's a good example. It's hard to tell without a little bit of water and without a little bit of polishing and cleaning, but this has got some really intricate banding designs. So I'm going to pull a little bit more of it out here. I'm going to see if I can get some more of it out. Some of it almost looks kind of purple. Usually when there's a lot of black, it tends to be purplish or bluish. Now it's got a really white seam, and you can see the change in the opacity right there too. Let's take him down to the truck. I'm gonna drive down. There's just a creek right over here. I'm gonna drive down to it kind of soak and scrub the rocks a little bit so I can show them to you. Alright, I ended up cracking quite a few of them just to really showcase them a little better, just because they were so dirty. So that one's really kind of a weird one. Doesn't really have much of a color to it that's clear or anything. This one's got a lot of little ripples in it, little dots, little designs, lace, and it's kind of a cool color on the bottom there where it's white and almost purple, and then it kind of morphs into a blue. That's another good piece of it right there. And here's probably the best one of them all, where it's got really good bands, really good colors. It's kind of a purple and then light purple in there, kind of a sky blue or maybe a Caribbean blue on the side right there. That ended up really cool. Usually I'll cut with a saw, a rock saw, and then I'll kind of usually cut some shapes or designs into them, and then I'll polish them. I'm gonna cross the creek here and try to get up the mountain quite a ways farther, hopefully, before it gets too dark. Well, one of my favorite things to do around here is if I see a really nice game trail, like the one that's cutting across that hillside, and I've never been on it before, to immediately pull off and spend the rest of the day exploring on that area. And I didn't even have to walk 3 feet from the truck to find a big nodule of agate. I'm not sure that it's the quality that I'm looking for, especially because it's already broken. Yeah, no, probably not. It'll get rejected. Oh, there's quite a few right here. Kind of look through some of them maybe. Here's a piece of jasper. The only difference between the two is the jasper's opaque or not see-through. So, yeah, I can't even walk 10 feet from the truck without getting distracted. But I'm going to take a little walk right around there and see what I see. A lot of people wonder a lot about rockhounding. So it seems like when people get into rockhounding, they wonder when they found something good and when they haven't. And I'd say there's 2 steps to that. First is being in a place where you can find half-decent stuff, which takes a lot of walking. I mean, there's some areas like I've just been doing where you can drive and the road has plenty, but there are a lot of places, and most of the highest quality and coolest rock is not on a road. So like when you're walking around and you're just seeing, you know, regular random rocks, and these are all volcanic rocks, which is the right place to be. And you have different colors of red and whitish and greenish and bluish, and then all of a sudden you'll see something like this, like a little peanut, and that's a little quartz nodule. And once you start finding that, then you know you're in the right area. And once you start finding bigger nodules, and they just stick out, right? Like this is bright colored, very white, very noticeable, and very bumpy, weird rock. And it just shows that you have what you're looking for. And you can kind of get a glimpse of what it might look like on the inside. This one's got a lot of watermark banding, which just basically means there's different colors and shades of, or opacities would probably be the best way to say it, of white. And then I stick them in my trusty little army surplus canteen containers, and I keep walking. So now look at this. I'm getting into more prevalent nodules. Here's a nodule here. There's a nodule here. There's a little piece here. There's a teeny one right here. right? So you've got all these little pieces, and all of them, that one actually has some designs in it. This one's a really light colored with some white inside. But then you come down here and you can see this guy. This is part of a seam. And that's when you know you're in the right spot for finding much better quality stuff. This is really pretty. I'm definitely gonna keep that long term. Knowing about the bedrock in the area you're in is good too. Like the bedrock here is very shallow, like the soil profile is very shallow before you get to bedrock, especially as you get up onto ridges. So I like to look on ridges, or I'll look right around kind of the toe slope of ridges, because that's typically where a lot of stuff will slough off. So once I find a spot like this, then I'll kind of like look around on the hillside, back and forth a little bit, see what there is. If I find something really good, I might break the rock hammer out and start digging just a little bit to see if there's anything worth digging around for. So I'm just gonna scan around here with you, and you can kind of see how that looks. See, there's another piece of that seam. There's another piece of that blue seam. I really like that. That is really cool. It's got a lot of really cool coloration in it. So that's definitely a keeper. Look at that. Oh, wow. It almost looks like petrified coral or something. Like it's all these little spots. I have some petrified coral from up here. Doesn't quite look like it though. It could be something else. Could also be a plume agate. There's another piece of that seam of blue, which I like. Yeah, that's some really cool stuff. It's funny because it's kind of like in the same general line all the way up the hill, which to me says that there might be a seam embedded somewhere in the bedrock underneath the soil. And that's usually when people mine it, is when they find a seam big enough after hand digging that it's worth it to go in there and do a big mining operation. But that ain't for me. It's not what I'm interested in. I just like being out here, like sharing it. Ooh, look at this. Now here is a big old piece of that seam. It's been weathered quite a bit, and it's quite narrow. You can see how both sides are pretty small, which is a really ideal size for me. And then right next to it is this huge crystal piece. So both of these are too big to put in my bags and too big to put on the sizes of saw that I have. So I'll do a couple breaks and just see both if they're of interest to me, and then also if they are, then I can actually make them into something. There's a good crack down the middle. That's pretty cool actually. And it's blue, and it has all those little layers of red in it. So, yeah, I'll keep a sample of that. See, that looks way different than what I was expecting. There we go. See, that one's kind of complex crystalline wise, but just not really anything too special. Check out this monstrosity of a nodule. Oops. See, that's got a geode type crystalline center. That's pretty cool. Ooh, that one's really cool. Almost looks like a side chunk of that other stuff. That one will go in. That one will probably get rock tumbled whole. Ooh. Now there is a little shard of pink. So we know we've got some color variety around here. Look at this, how the rocks are starting to jut out, which means that we're kind of hitting a ridge where the bedrock's a lot shallower, which means that things are a lot more accessible. I decided to bust open another one of these, to me, fairly featureless crystals, crystal ones, and man, it turned into something really cool. You can see it's a jasp agate that turns into crystal bugs, and you can see the coloration of kind of that light brownish color, which is really unique. That's different. So I'll probably load as much of that rock up as I can. I've walked, I don't know, 15 feet, getting into some much bigger formations. I've got this really goofy, like pastel pink jasper that I've picked up. But then look at this big vein of who knows what. Look at the way so the way that forms is, imagine that that's the ceiling of a cave, or the floor of a cave, probably the ceiling though. And this hot silica-rich water is dripping down, and then after it hardens, over the top of it comes this red, really dense, like iron heavy crust that kind of seals it all in. And then you just get these really complex pluming colors as the different temperatures of the silica-rich water come in. And then you've got, there's a little piece here that's going to crack off. So then you've got inputs of different colorations because of that. That's a really cool and very large piece. And then there's another one right next to it, right here. And this one has a lot more of the red, more of a dark red. There's an old spider web in it. Oh man, that's really pretty. Really complex. You see how reddish pink that all is. So that was really iron dense silica water that came in and dripped down in. And even in the middle you had some blue, which is more copper. Could be iron too, depending on the temperature, but so that'll make a really, really cool addition. That one's not what I was expecting. Now that might be worth it. Oh yeah, that's got some really complex banding in it. There it went. Oh dang it. Shattered it. It's because the center was full of crystal. Those little edge pieces are really cool though. Handy pockets are ready to be reloaded. And I just picked up a really, really bright red and blue and green seam just right on this trail. And there's another piece right here that I can see. It looks like it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a red and white moss almost. Man, I am scoring. Usually it's not this good, I promise. There's a really nice seam. Red and orange, green, maybe some yellow. Something about ridge tops and sides of ridges and bottoms of ridges. Look how red that is. That looks like there's a guy that's mining not far away from here. That looks a lot like what he's been pulling out. Ooh, look at that. You can kind of get a side view of what that stuff that I've been picking up is gonna look like. Maybe some really like mocha colored or latte colored brown mixed with white and pink. Hard to see, but there's a deer right there. Well, I'm typically a rover when it comes to mountain walking and rock hounding, but as I've been walking back, I'm noticing that there's just this incredibly strong vein of really good quality agate and material in the same line all the way down the hillside, all the way from up above where I am right now even. And it's getting too dark to see very well and distinguish different rocks from each other. But I'm thinking I may just sleep somewhere close to here. Even in the dark though, I mean, I can see, look how bright white that guy is. It's that same vein that I was down below earlier. And it just seems to have a really good variety. Oh wow, look at that. Even in the dark you can see that one. How blue it is. Pretty big.
Good morning. Kind of had a change of plans last night. I decided I wanted to come up in elevation and see what it looked like up higher. Just for a couple hours this morning.
This is one of the trickiest petrified wood spots I've ever seen. There's regular wood. Here's a piece of petrified wood right here. How's that for crazy? I can't believe I saw that amidst all this real wood. All these little wood chunks. Now I'm looking extra close for more. Not seeing any more. Well, all I had to do was say something. That's petrified wood too. A big piece. That little hole gave it away because I could see the old striations. Then when I picked it up I could see all those little dots and lines, which is the xylem and phloem. So shockingly, I have picked up, I don't know, probably a 4-pound piece of petrified wood. Again, truck is right there. I keep pulling it off on this trip. I'm gonna take a hit on the with the rock hammer on this one and see what it looks like. It's hard to tell, but there's a knot right there where it's cut in half almost, so you can only really see the top 2/3 of it. But that is a piece of agatized petrified wood. Alright, well, it's almost noon, and I've driven all the way back down to the spot that I started at last night. I'm just having a cold cheeseburger for lunch. I'm just gonna walk right back over there. I've been thinking and kind of looking through some of these rocks, and I've decided I'm probably really mostly just looking for the red plume. There's this pretty big nodule. Looks like it has a lot of watermark. I'm gonna just break it and see. Woo! See what it's got inside here. A lot of banding. Some of these crystalline pockets. Not super high quality to me. It's pretty looking. The outside was promising. Had all this blue. Sometimes that blue gets in. Make some cool designs. I also picked up this guy and cracked him open, and he had a really big crystal cavern inside of it. Plus, just has a lot of really good coloration and stuff going on inside. So, right, I've been carrying him for a minute. Doesn't that one just pop out when you look at it? It's got purple on that side, blue on that side, red on that side. That's a cool one. There's another one kind of like it right here. Probably the same, from the same spot. That is pretty. Not bad though. Another one. It might not be a... Well, that one's got calcium inside, calcium crystals. You can tell because they shine a little bit and they have a different, little bit different of a structure, crystal structure. That one looks pretty good too. There's some really good little pieces in here. It's quartz, but it's not anything special. Let's see what this is. Red and white. A little bit of pink plume into clear. Very weak. Whoa, that's really weird. Got all those little red squiggles in it. Whoa. A lot of blue. A lot of weak rock in the middle. Huh. Probably not gonna keep that one. That one's pretty cool. I said I was only gonna pick up pinks, but here I am picking up everything again. Yeah, that one's cool. Keeper. Here's a weird piece. Really cool one though. Need to get that one wet to do it justice. See the patterning and the designs, the red, kind of the brownish pastel gray, blue. Yeah, that's cool. That one's like a blue lace. It's pretty small though. Check out this big geode that I picked up. It might have something cool in it. I'll leave it intact, I'm not going to break it. And we'll cut it open when we get back. I just came up on this. You can kind of tell is a vein. And I smacked one of these open and it just has one of the coolest light blue colors ever. Didn't look like anything when I looked at it at first. Couldn't see the blue at all. That's awesome. Wow, look at how prevalent this section is. I just picked that up. It's like a blue jasper. There's a whole seam of it right here. Just a really cool blue with yellow. Pretty sweet. I'll probably start walking back here in a sec. I'm just kind of gritting my way down this rock face. Oh look, there's another big piece of blue. Oh, that's so pretty. Very complex. Guess I'm carrying a bunch in my hands today. Alrighty. I'll check in later. I'm gonna load them up and I'm gonna head out. Go home, because I have school tomorrow. All day. Well, back in the truck driving home. So hopefully you enjoyed, and thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you on the next one. If you like this video, check out our channel and join us Sundays for more adventures.